Hello and welcome to the Garve and Ullapool Railway. This is a modular N-scale layout, and the modules are built according to the recommendations of FREMO. FREMO is a European group of model railway friends, and there's a small group of them who are building British outlined modules in N-scale. I will first give you a short overview over the layout. The layout room is roughly 4 by 4 meters, and the route is going along the wall. There's no double deck feature or something else. It's a linear layout from end to end. There was a proposal to build a line from Garve to Ullapool in the late 1890s, but this never happened, and so I come with my fictional setting from a line from Garve to the terminus of Ullapool. In my fictional story, there will be 2 branch lines going up from the line, but they are not modeled yet. The layout is operated with DCC. I use a Digitrax Zephyr Extra as command station, and the Digitrax Zephyr communicates with a Loconet bus. Here you can see the fiddle yard with my rolling stock for the late 1960s to the early 1970s, maybe with much imagination for the early 80s. Here in the foreground are the walk-around throttles. These are so-called Freddies, which is an I call it invention from the FREMO. It's also commercially available in another form from Ulmbrock. After the fiddle yard, the train enters a curved module which will get an avalanche gallery about here, which is a project of the near future. Then it goes round, and here is a set for 90 degree of modules which forms a 90-degree curve. These modules someone of you will recognize, because this is what was part of my former Isle of Skye railway project, which is now abandoned. After this we come to Glenbogle Viaduct. Glenbogle Viaduct is another module from the former IOS. It features in scale scenes, pointed cart viaduct, so cart and some strips of styrene are used. The background is painted after the Bob Ross method. It is in my opinion, a very easy way to achieve a good looking backdrop for your model railway. Then it goes on. Here a short module which will be finished in the near future. Here we've come to Leckmern, also a former IOS railway module. On the former IOS it was called Romsdale. In the foreground of Romsdale, or now Leckmern, you've got a loading track here, where maybe timber or something else is loaded. Here the station building. Here it was I tried here to use a French CNC milling machine for the walls, which I think are quite well. Here behind the station is a crossing keeper's cottage for the railway crossing. Here the outline of a cottage which I plan to build. Here you see a small loading track where gasoline and dynamite and other goods could be brought to the quarry. Here's some vehicles, Oxford die-cast vehicles, BT Toys vehicles, and kit build one. Now we come to the quarry, gravel loading facility. There I'm not sure how to model it. We will see it in future. And in the foreground there is a small crofter's cottage with some field in the foreground and some Highland cattle nearby. Next we enter 3 straight modules. One is 1 meter long, the other 2 are so-called chokers. As you can see, the landscape changed with the hill on the back side to the hill on the front, and then we again return to the back side. Here we've got a small road overpass and a British Rail bus blocked by a herd of sheeps. This was one of my first modules built in 2009. At this time I only used Woodland Scenics turf and hornby foliage and some Hiki wildgrass. Later on I put these pine trees in the background, and a few weeks ago I started with an improving project, and here you see the background, and on the left side I use static grass to improve the look of the module. Here you see two other improved modules applied with static grass. In the foreground this is a small plate layers hut with some plate layers at work, and on the second one is a small cattle herd. Now we enter the approach of Ullapool. In this area there will be a small hill. The street will be rising about 3 or 4 centimeters above. Street level will be about 3 or 4 centimeters above the ground level, and in the background there will be a small cemetery. Here is a station approach. The track doubles, and here it goes. On the left comes the motive power depot with a turntable. Here beside the glue will be the coaling stage, and here will be a double track engine shed. Now you could see the platform. The platform will hold up to 13 coaches a train, but then the run-around facility at the end near the train shed could not be used. When these should be used, the train length is limited to 7 or 8, maybe 9 coaches on platform number 1. On platform number 2 at the behind, only 8 coaches could be coupled to an engine, or a DMU could be used. Here at the background you see a small sketch of a warehouse, I plan to build an low relief structure here, which will represent an tweed fabric dealer who sends his goods by train. Behind will be a train shed, which is based on a train shed in Thurso in Scotland. On the near there is a provender store, and here at the back is a cottage with an office appendix, also made from a downloadable scale scenes paper kit. I don't know if this position of the cottage will be the final position. There I will have to look. Here you could see a loading ramp where all kinds of goods wagons could be loaded or freight could be transferred. In my fictitious Ullapool there is a nearby Royal Navy harbour and a training facility of the Royal Marines, so there will also be some military traffic with lorries and other vehicles and military goods which will be received there, and some military some trains which will carry soldiers. At the end of the harbour track there will be a small tank fuel depot for the harbour, which will receive the harbour the fuel for the ships. Here you could see that I stamped in cobblestones. The material I used for the ground is called modular multifill. It's a creamy paste which will dry and then is hard but not too hard for engraving, stamping and sanding. Then here you could see a goods shed. It's based on a Highland Railway design, and the wood core is laminated with polystyrene sheets and then small small styrene strips for the effect of the board and batten wall. Here two other vehicles in the foreground, an Oxford diecast VW T2 bus, and at the background and BT Toys lorry. Some of my newest rolling stock, and from Bachmann Scenecraft, Ferret Scenecraft, a line-side hut. There are also two storage tracks for marshalling goods wagons, and here we enter the harbour track, which goes to a future fishing association, which will be placed around here, which will send its fish products to the outside world. Behind there, in this area, will be a coal and fuel dealer which handles the fuel for the city of Ullapool. And here I will place a small cooperage, maybe, which will receive old barrels from America which were used with bourbon whiskey, or from Spain which were used for port. and will we used for whiskey barrels and beer barrels. Here at the site where at the moment is the fiddle yard, there will be in the future this way station, which will have a possibility for trains to cross. It will also be a small junction for one of the branch lines, and then the fiddle yard is turned about 180 degrees and put there on the back side. There will also be a small distillery there for the goods traffic. I hope to show you some more videos in the future. I don't know if it's regularly or when news of my railway will be publishable. I hope you enjoyed this film, and I wish you a nice day, and until the next time.